I'm here with the Merida Reacto of Triple Grand Tour winner Vincenzo Nibali of Team Bahrain Merida. This bike certainly looks tricked out to me, so let's have a closer look. So Nibali, he stands at 1.81 m, which is 5'11", and the frame size he's gone for is a size 54 centimetres. Now strikingly, this frame doesn't have any paint on it whatsoever, so presumably that's to actually try and get it a little bit lighter, because after all it is an aerodynamic road frame, so they do tend to weigh a little bit more because obviously emphasis is done on aerodynamics rather than pure weight savings. So let's actually take a look at this frame then, shall we? Well, firstly, you're going to notice the stunning decals, or decals as some people like to call them, of the Merida brand, and also the Bahrain here on the seat tube. It's done in a glittery silver effect, and personally I think it looks absolutely amazing. Then on the underside of the top tube, just poking through, is what looks to be, I think, shark fins, because after all his nickname is the Shark of Messina, where he comes from. Then on the down tube we've got red, pink and yellow. What do those signal to us? Those are the colours of the respective winners' jerseys of the Grand Tours that he's won. So the Vuelta a España, the Giro d'Italia and the Tour de France. So moving on to the seat post then, well, this is Merida's S-Flex system. So the idea behind that is to give a little bit of dampening, because this section here, basically, there's nothing there. Instead, there's a little neoprene type cover just to actually make it look a little bit nicer than, well, a little bit of airspace, I guess. Then mounted on top is an unbranded saddle. Well, the team itself is sponsored by Brand Pro Logo, but this is definitely a physique Antares with braided carbon rails. Moving forward then to the steering controls. Nibali, he's gone for a 120mm FSA OS99 carbon fibre stem, and that is gripping a pair of FSA K-Force SL carbon fibre handlebars in a 42cm width. So he's not gone down the super narrow aerodynamic route. Instead, he's remaining a little bit more comfortable, I think anyway. Now fitted to them is a pair of Shimano Dura Ace 9150 Di2 brake lever, gear lever combination. And then the bars are finished off with Pro Logo's handlebar tape, offering a little bit of cushion as well as some extra grip. And then the finishing touches on this include some FSA logos on the front of the actual handlebar tape, and on the sides here you can see the Pro Logo logos added on there too, just for a bit of extra TV time. Now what about the actual cables and gubbins underneath the handlebars here then? Well, the mechanics have decided to use some of those alligator or knock-on style cables. So they're modular cables that you put together, highly flexible, with a thin liner in the inside that allows a cable to run ultra smooth through any tight curves or internal routing that bikes do tend to come with these days. Then there's also a quick release mechanism for the rear brake, which is shoved away underneath the chainstays and bottom bracket area there. So in the unfortunate event of a puncture, the rider can actually release that themselves and the wheel is easily removed. Now what about the brakes then? Well, if we look on the front fork, we've got a direct mount brake, so that's held in place using 2 bolts as opposed to a single one through the fork crown. And then they're stopping a pair of Fulcrum Speed 40T carbon fibre wheels. They're using ceramic bearings there in the hubs, and then mounted onto them is a pair of Continental Competition Pro Limited 25mm tubular tyres. Now interestingly, the mechanics haven't put any really long valve extenders in there. Instead they just about poke out from the rim, so presumably they've got a really good pump to get those up to pressure. Also, for the eagle-eyed of you out there, you will have noticed the SRM speed sensor on the fork leg and also the magnet down there on the spoke. What about then the rear brake? Well, it's tucked away really out of the way there underneath the bottom bracket and chainstays, and it's the Shimano Dura Ace 9110 direct mount brake. So it has quite a complex spring arrangement to allow it to release in the case of a wheel change, for instance. Derailleurs, both front and rear, are provided by Shimano, and then the Dura Ace 9150 Di2 units. Now interestingly, the rear derailleur is mounted to a different type of derailleur hanger, and by using this style of hanger, which pops backwards a little bit, it allows the rider to actually get a more positive, crisper gear changing, which is going to also save you a little bit of weight, I guess, because you are going to remove just a slight bit of material from the existing derailleur. So that's controlling an 1128 Shimano Dura Ace 9100 cassette. Chainrings, well, Nibali's chosen 5339 and they're mounted to these SRM cranks. Now, these use a system which I believe was actually invented by Look that have a rotating insert for you to actually insert the pedals into. Why would you want that insert to rotate then? Well, it actually has 3 different positions. So these cranks aren't just one length, so you can use 170mm, 172.5 and also 175. Nibali though, well, he's opted for 172.5. Fitted though onto the spider of this chainset is an SRM Power meter. And the pedals that are fitted into the rotating insert are Shimano Dura Ace 9100 SPD SLs. Finishing touches for the bike then, well, we've got first of all the SRM mount here, so that's obviously to provide him his power information whilst he's riding along. And then there's a tiny little bit of grip tape underneath the mount there for the SRM speed sensor. Then we've got ourselves a pair of Elite Ligero bottle cages. And finally, something I must just give a big shout out to is the Nibali Shark sticker down here on the non-drive side chainstay. We've also got a carbon tie top cap here for the headset. So that's using a piece of carbon fibre, and then the bolt which actually preloads the bearing setting is titanium, and that uses a Torque style fitting. And finally, the end caps of the brake cables are finished off in a nice little gold colour. What about those measurements then? Well, from the top of the saddle to the centre of the bottom bracket, 75 centimetres. And then the tip of the saddle to the centre of the bars, 60 centimetres bang on. And then the drop from the saddle to the stem, 11 centimetres. What about that free hub then? Let's have a listen. And the weight of the bike, 6.93 kilos. So there we are, the Merida Reacto of Vincenzo Nibali, ready for the Tour de France. Now, who can actually spot a difference in the bike to which I just showed you and the one that's here now? Let me know about it in the comment section down below if you can spot it. Now, also let me know what you think about the fantastic colourway too here on the down tube. Now, as ever, like and share this video with your friends, tell them all about it, and also remember to check out the GCN shop at shop.globalcyclingnetwork.com. And now for another great video, this time a fantastic pro bike as ever, click just down here.